everybody, Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome back. Part 9 now of the build of this DeAgostini 1/6 scale massive Ford Mustang 1967 GT500. And we can see here today we're going to be looking at packs 21 and we're going to be looking at packs 22 and 23. And in here we've got some different bits rather than just working on seats. Remember in part 21 we finished off our passenger seat there. I showed you some tips at the end for getting that together, and today we're going to be looking at brakes and exhausts. So without further ado, let's get down to the bench. But just before we do, if you want to join in with this and you want to have a go at doing one, in the description below this video there's a link. Click on that, takes you to the website. You can go and find out all about it. They're actually available now in the USA, which is cool. So yeah, without further ado, let's get down to the bench. We'll get to the overhead camera, have a look at the magazines and put some bits together. Okay, so here we are now with pack 22. So we'll have a look through the magazine as usual. If you don't want to hear me go on about the magazine and everything, just fast forward to when you start seeing me on the building page. So whoops, making it across the table. Here we have all our information about customer services all over the world, and as I say, this is available now in the USA. So if you want to build yourself a Mustang that is like 3 feet long, something like that, then, you know, fill your boots. And then you can get yourself a nice big Tamiya 1/6 scale Harley to stand next to it, which I've already got waiting for it. So Lee Iacocca, we're looking at the Iacocca, was it Iacocca? I think it was Iacocca, wasn't it? I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments. Father of the Mustang, he designed it. It was supposed to be a sort of a cheap sedan sort of thing, and yeah, it was unbelievably popular from day one. Still the most sold sports car in the world, I believe. And some of the, if you look back in history, some of the commercials, adverts they ran in America, you know, on a secretary's wage, Ford Mustang is the car for you. I mean, God, you couldn't get away with things like that these days, could you? And there you can see him advertising it and showing it off in 1964. So April the 17th, 1964, which was just a few days ago, 60 years ago then, that was the 60th birthday of the Mustang. And a move to Chrysler, the Mustang was an instant sales success, and it made Ford the top-selling US car maker. Lee's prestige within the company grew rapidly, and he became president in 1970. Problems were not long coming. The economic crisis of the 70s badly affected the company, and Lee was admired and highly respected. And he was immediately offered a job by Chrysler. There we go. So he went to Chrysler. So there we go. Lee Iacocca, I think it was, wasn't it? So there's what we're going to be doing today. We've got a brake, and then here we've got the Ford Torino in NASCAR. In 1969, Ford launched the Torino Talladega, a limited series car with a single goal to go faster and maintain the brand's dominance in NASCAR racing. If you used to watch the old Starsky and Hutch series, that was a Ford Torino in there. And there's also that film called Torino with what's his name in it, and it's absolutely awesome, brilliant film. So there we go. You can see David Pearson claimed the NASCAR champion title in the 1968 and 69 seasons at the wheel of a Holman Moody Ford Torino. They were great then, NASCARs, because they were actually the car, you know, gutted and a few modifications. These days they're absolutely nothing to do with the original car. Nothing to do. Absolutely nothing to do with the original car. They don't even look the same, do they? Donnie Allison and Richard Petty's Talladega during the 1969 NASCAR season. So Richard Petty actually drove a Ford. I've met Richard Petty. Shook his hand. What a guy. Lovely bloke. And you can see David Pearson in the at the wheel of the Torino Talladega, in which he won his third NASCAR title, the second in a row in 1969. Beautiful, beautiful looking car. And there's Richard Petty. Very tall he was, very tall. And then here we've got the Ford Torino King Cobra. Had a certain similarity to the Datsun 240Z. That's got a certain similarity to a tin of beans. It's round. Oh well. Yeah, I guess the nose, I can see where they're coming from. The front end does look very much like a 240. It looks more like a bloody kit car, doesn't it? In my opinion, it looks horrible. But anyway, what do I know? So let's go into the build and have a look at what we've got in here. So we have, get the light on as usual, we have the right front brake disc. So we have the parts here. Here's our parts for 22. So we'll get this cut open. That can go in the recycling, and then this can come on the bench. So we have a brake caliper, we have brake pipes, a brake caliper, a brake back plate, the actual hub itself, that's made of metal. We've got the disc, which is plastic. No, it's not all drilled or slotted or anything, because in 1967 they weren't. And then we've got 2 packs of screws here. So we'll get these out. We'll get this one out here. And we'll put the bags over there out of the way. There we go. We've got another bag here with what I think is a brake pipe in there. Okay, so we've got our hub, back plate, brake pipe, caliper, and some screws. Okay, so first attach the brake fluid hose 22E to the brake caliper 22D. Align the hose and caliper as shown in the main picture. So we've got this caliper here, which is this way up. We have a pipe here which is on a circular fitting, and we have this one here which is like on an oval fitting. Okay, so that one's, when you look at it end on, it's square in section, and this one is like oval, if you like. So the oval one is going to the, as we look at it here with it that way up, the oval one is going to the bottom and the other one is going to the top. So we're going to basically put this over here. Oh, actually I've got the wrong way around. That one, you can't put it in the wrong way around. That's good, because when you look in here, this hole is right up against that boss, and that pin is right up against the edge there. If you try and put it in the wrong way around, it won't go in. So there we go. So that's going to go in there like that, and then this one's going to come over the top and sit like that. Okay, now I think that needs a drop of glue. It does seem to be, you give it a nudge and it seems to stay in there, but we'll leave that up for now. If it falls out, we can always glue it in. Next, turn the caliper around and fit the pin on the short arm of the, we've already done that. The hose should hug the end of the caliper as shown in the pictures. Right. Now place the brake disc protector 22A over the stub axle 22C to ensure correct orientation of the parts. To ensure correct orientation of the parts, note that the side of the protector that rests on the stub axle is the one with 2 pins on it that fit into the holes in the stub axle. Insert the centre shaft of the axle through the central hole of the protector. Check the holes marked by the blue. Blimey. Talk about making a meal of it. Right, so let's go in that way round. Whoops, thrown it across the room. We have the pins on here. You can see 1, 2 pins there, and they are going to basically go over that hub, and they're going to go into those holes there. There we go. They won't go in any other way. Okay, you can turn it to the cows come home. They only go in one way, so you won't go wrong there. So they go in like that. So we know now that, because I've looked at the instructions, this hole here is going to get a screw put in it, as is this one, because when we look further on in the instructions, we're going to be fitting a screw to hold the wheel on, and we're going to be fitting a screw to hold the brake caliper on. Now in both instances, these are die-cast screws, DS die-cast, PS is plastic. So they've got their metal machine screws, and you can see that they have a machine thread on them, just like on a nut and bolt. And the idea is you just grunch them in. I don't like to do that. I like to tap a thread. So I've got a tap here, okay, and I'm going to tap a thread. I think I'll come in from this side. I'm going to cut a thread in here so that when the screw goes in, it's actually got a thread to go into rather than just going into a blind hole. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but we now have a thread in there. And the same on the end here where the wheel's going to screw on. I'm just going to cut a thread into there. You see I'm going in about a turn and a half, coming back half a turn. And you can see that we're cutting the metal, because down here you can see there's all bits of metal on the bench. So we can get rid of those little pieces, and that's what the manufacturers want you to graunch the screws in. I would much rather cut a thread. I always say you wouldn't go and buy an M8 bolt from Halfords and expect a nut with no thread in it, would you? So that's fitted on there like that, and then this brake disc is just going to pop over there like that. Okay, and it's flopping around. That's fine, that's okay. The flat side of the disc must face the disc protector. Insert the stub axle 22C through the hole in the center of the disc. So that's going like that. Now what we're going to do is hold all that together, and we're going to get the brake caliper and slide the brake caliper over the disc, and then we're going to grab a machine screw, which is one of these unplated ones, or not black should I say, and then we're going to screw that into the thread we've just cut, and it's going to go into there nice and easy and not have to be graunched in, and then that caliper is going to hold that disc in just as it would in real life. Okay, so there's our caliper fitted on the disc, all nice and square. Everything's good, everything's hunky-dory. Right, so now what they're asking us to do is fit this to the wheel. So if you look on here, we've got a great big tab on the wheel, and we've got a great big slot in the disc. So what we're going to do is fit the center hub in, and then we're going to turn the disc until the caliper, until it goes over that slot, sorry. So I'm just going to double check we got that right. Yeah, we have. It can't go on wrong. Okay, so what you do is just put it on, eye it up, make sure it's in about roughly the right position. There we go, it goes in. If it's not in, it doesn't sit down properly. It needs to go in like that. And then we're going to take one of these metal screws here. Blimey, got a tiny little thread holding that in. This is probably going to need a bigger screw eventually. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to hold that in. So we've got a tiny little screw, and what we're going to do is put that in there, find the hole, just screw that in, I'm guessing until it stops. I'm guessing it till it stops, and then it will act like a, yeah, so you tighten the screw up until it stops, and then the wheel is free to turn, although you're not going to be playing with this model anyway. You'll crush anybody's hands if you roll over them. Okay, so that's good, and it's quite a nice fit as well. It's not really floppy. It's got a bit of play in it, but it's not too bad at all. So that's going to be lovely. It's all going to sit lovely like that. So there we go, and then we've got to take our Shelby logo, and in the back of there there's a magnet. That's just going to stay in there, magnetized into there by the screw. So there we are. What you could do if you want to, if you remember when I put these in so I didn't lose them, I put a thin layer of masking tape around there just to sort of hold them in so you don't lose them, but should be okay with the magnet. So there we are. So that is pack 22. We'll grab our Tamiya pot once again. We'll grab our screws and we'll stick them in there. I've been using an M2.2 tap to tap threads for an M2.3 screw, which is better than nothing. I've actually got a 2.3 tap on the way, so you could do the same. If you buy these cheap tap sets, they don't tend to come with the odd sizes, the M2.3 and the M2.6 and stuff. So there we go. Right, so that's pack 22 done. We've got our wheel all ready to go. You can hear something's rubbing, but that doesn't matter one bit. I don't care about that at all. So there we are, absolutely massive. You can see how big that is in my hands. It's going to be one big old model. Right, let's move on and have a look at pack 23. One other thing I forgot to mention, without further ado, in this set, in this batch, we got another one of these little holders, which is very, very nice, and we can keep all our magazines in there, so that's very cool. So thank you very much for that, DeAgostini. That was like a freebie. So we going into the magazine. The 2007 Mustang Shelby GT500. In 2007, Carroll Shelby and Ford's SVT developed the Mustang GT500. Now, when I bought my Grabber Orange Mustang in 2008, picture of it here, I also saw at Bill Shepherd Mustang when I got it, they had a GT500 for sale, and mine was like £25,000, and the GT500 I think was £46,000 or £42,000. I wish now I'd bought the GT500. I'd probably still have it. Silly me, never mind. But it was a beautiful car, absolutely beautiful. And there you can see Carroll Shelby was the consultant for the project. He saw the success of the Shelby GT500 on its big comeback to the market as a personal challenge. And I love the new GT500. I absolutely love it. And there's the Shelby GT500 badge on the back. Very nice. And then here we've got some exhaust pipes. And here we're on Ford Gran Torino again. They love the Torinos in this series, don't they? Last week we were talking, or last issue we were talking about NASCAR, and here we've got the Gran Torino again. Beautiful, beautiful car. You can see there with the sort of very, very Mercury looking front end on there. Beautiful. Very slender looking coupe. Absolutely massive, probably weighed a ton. Did about 7 to the gallon and probably 150 horsepower out of a 9-litre engine or something. You know what those older cars were like. Anyway, so let's get on with the build. Okay, so we're looking at exhaust pipes now. So here we have part 23, or pack 23. And I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here because we've got a bag there, look, and I can cut that bag open. And this bag as well, there we go. See, how's that for efficiency? There we are. So there's all our parts. So we can see we've got all our parts. We've got some lovely chrome tail pipes, and then we've got the rear pipes there. So we're saying here, get ready the left exhaust pipe 23A and the left exhaust muffler 23B. Both of these can be identified by their letter L. So this one has a letter L and this one has a letter L. So basically we are going to push these together. We have a D-shaped hole there. Let's get the light on for you. Sorry, I forgot. We have a D-shaped hole there. We have a D-shaped pin there. And they are basically going to push together. And they are a very, very tight fit. So what I would suggest, I've got a little skinny sanding stick here. You could use a knife for anything and just, you've got a mould seam down the side. And I think that's going to help to make it go in easier. Yeah, there you go. So that's got in now. No glue required. We've got a great big mould seam around the side, but if you want to sand that out and repaint it chrome, then you can. Otherwise, just ignore it. And then the same on this one. We've got the right going into the right. So we have an R on here. We have an R on here. So we just check the fit of those, and they go together fine without any cleanup. So there we are. When you do get stuff tight, don't start forcing things together. Give it a little cleanup. Give it a little scrape or something. So keep in mind, remember the objectives right and left take as a reference to the direction of travel of the vehicle. That is the orientation that the elements of the car have, as if you were seated behind the wheel facing forward. Okay, remember that. People do get confused when they look at a car. Here's my Talladega Mustang, Terlingua, and they say that's right and left. It's not. That's right, that's left, because it's always as if you were sat in the seat. Okay, so there you go. Right. So what does it say over the page here? This is how the 2 exhaust pipes looks once they have been assembled. So there we go, that's how they look. And this is where they go on the model, just in case you didn't know. Right, there we go. So that's our exhaust done, and we've got our disc brake in there, all very nice indeed. And we did our seats in the previous 3 magazines. So all in all, that's this month's work taken care of. See you again a month for me, a couple of weeks for you. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.